So Mike's up first. He says, hey guys, I recall Bradley saying iFrame content counts towards keyword density and content to the page it's on. Does this still apply to content that has a no index on it, like a tag page or something similar? Well, I mean, yeah, having a no index doesn't change the composition of a page, if that makes sense. What I mean is, if you have a no index tag on a page, so you were like in the meta, like in the SEO plugin settings, if you're talking about a WordPress page, you can go into the advanced settings generally and tell it like the meta robots dot information or whatever directives to tell it to no index, no follow, no index, that kind of stuff, no archive, all of those. If you're talking about no indexing it, then no, it doesn't. Google's not going to index it, so it's not going to hurt anything, if that makes sense. No indexing, adding the no index tag to a page does not change the composition of the page. But what I'm saying is, why would you care? And this is a valid question, a sincere question. Why would you care about the keyword density of a page that's no indexed? And if you're on, Mike, and you have if you can clarify a little bit, there's probably something I'm missing with your question. Some additional context would help. I just don't understand. What I'm trying to say is, like, for example, if you are using something like an SEO tuning tool, right? So like Surfer SEO would be an example of that. And there's many of them, but let's just use that as an example. If you do a SERP analysis for a particular keyword, and it's going to pull up the top 20 results. And if you look through those results, you're going to get like for local, and that's all I deal with is local. So if you're doing a local search query, SERP analysis in Surfer, for example, then it's going to show you the top 20 results, and it's going to show you the word counts, and it's going to give you their own proprietary authority score for each one of the sites and that kind of stuff. And what you'll notice is there will be mixed in local business sites as well as directory sites. Okay. And you'll notice like the directory sites like Yelp or Angie. I'm in the contractor space. So we say Yelp, Angie, Home Advisor, Lawn Starter, like sites like that. You're going to see that they have oftentimes, 3,000 plus words on the page. And that's a lot of times because it's endless scroll, right? Or it'll be, and then there'll be the authority score, the proprietary authority score, which will be real high. It'll be like 9 or 10 for something like a directory site. Then you'll see local business sites, and local business sites will have like, for the tree service industry, it'll be like 350 words or something like that generally. And the authority score is going to be like 0 or 1 or maybe 2 if it's an older site. And that's about it. But every now and then you'll see a local business site that'll have low authority score, but you'll see it'll say like 2,500 words or 3,000 words. And you'll be like, holy shit. You go open up the page, and the page only has, really 300 or 400 words on it. But what it has is a carousel that's an embed of Google reviews or reviews from some other source, but generally they're Google reviews. So that's like from the Google business profile. So that's an embed. And what happens is it's actually counting that content on the page from the embedded reviews widget. That makes sense. So that counts towards the page content. And that also, here's the thing. And that's where, like, again, the SERP analysis in Surfer, for example, if you don't turn off or tell it to ignore those results from directory sites, from local business sites that have those embedded reviews widgets that significantly increases word count on the page, then it ends up skewing what the competitive metrics are of what your content needs to be competitive, to compete. Does that make sense? Like, in other words, if you leave the directory sites with 3,000 plus words in the SERP analysis results that are telling you and giving you guidelines on what kind of content you need to produce to be competitive, then now it's now shot your word count way up, when in all reality, you're not really competing with Yelp and Angie and Home Advisor, right? Because those are directory sites. That's an apples to oranges comparison. You want to compare apples to apples, which means a local business site should be compared to other local business sites. You should ignore directory sites. But sometimes those local business sites will have something embedded that will, like a reviews widget, for example. And if they have dozens or even hundreds of reviews, then all of a sudden their word count shot way the hell up. And because those typically people, like, again, in the tree service industry, a lot of times people will leave reviews and they'll mention the service. Like, Joe's tree service came out and did a great job trimming and pruning my trees, or trimming and doing stump removal on my property, whatever. So it might be a short snippet of text, like a sentence or two, like reviews typically are, but it'll have a keyword or two in it. And then that's duplicated for dozens or hundreds of times, however many reviews there are. If all of a sudden your keyword density goes through the roof. So my point in saying all of that is, like, those types of pages, that does count against keyword density. And in fact, that's sometimes why those pages rank, which goes against everything that we know as SEOs, right? You don't want to over optimize. You don't want too many keywords. Keyword density has been tested multiple times. The SEO Fight Club, Clint Butler and the guys, I know he's usually part of that, but like the guys over at the SEO Fight Club, they've tested that multiple times, and you can still have like way over optimized by what the traditional like rule of thumb metrics are for keyword density and rank. My point is, like, don't get too caught up in that. I still tend to try to keep my keyword density fairly low for any particular keyword, because we like to use a lot of variants of keywords, and that's more for the user so that it doesn't just read really spammy than it is for the SEO part of it. What I'm saying is there's been many tests done. Again, you guys go to the YouTube and look up SEO Fight Club, and you'll see they've done it multiple times where they've checked their channel. They do like single variable tests and stuff a lot over there. And you'll see that they've done it multiple times where like keyword density is not like, it can actually help you rank to be way over and above what people tell you is a general guideline for keyword density. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and spam your sites. That's not what I'm saying. But to get back to the question, what you say, does that still apply to content that has a no index on it, a no index directive? Yeah, it still counts. But my point is, Google's not going to index the page. What do you care? And again, maybe there's just some context missing, but why would you care about what the keyword density of the page is if it's no indexed, right? The only time that you really have to worry about that is if it's an index page, because then it can bring down the overall like quality score of the site itself for being over optimized. But as I just mentioned, that's been tested many, many times. And believe it or not, you can spam away and still rank. And in fact, sometimes that is the difference between what ranks and what doesn't, is having keyword density higher. So I don't know. I don't know if that answered your question or not, Mike. And again, I think I was just missing some context. Just to check to see if there was a follow-up on that before I move on to the next question. And I don't see one. All right, right on.